So used truck prices hit 12-month high. And something that you and I've talked about, in maybe different places, that people always complain, and rightly so, that new trucks are really expensive. And I'm like, but have you looked at used trucks? like used trucks are also really expensive. There's no getting around that either. So things are expensive, whether new or used. And you had a conversation with our friend at Carfax. What's his
Patrick
name?
Olson.
Patrick Olson.
Yeah.
And so again, I'm just going to scroll, and you can kind of take it away.
Yeah, so I thought this was really interesting because, and I posted this on my LinkedIn profile, and clearly, like, you can tell when somebody doesn't click through and read the story because they're just going to troll and be defensive, and they're like, "You are wrong. Used car prices are going down," and I was like, "Used car prices are going down. Used truck prices are not going down. They're actually up. Was it 6.3% year over year? And so the used truck prices are up. Everything else is down. Everything else is down. But if you're looking at a used truck, that is up. And I thought it was fascinating because, I mean, obviously, trucks are in high demand, and the costs of trucks are going up, 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 up. But what the reason behind these higher prices I thought was fascinating, and I didn't even make the correlation until I was talking to Patrick, where he was saying, okay, in addition to still having some supply chain issues, think about where gas prices were last summer. And he's like, they were at all-time highs, so people weren't buying trucks. He's like, but now gas prices are lower, so they're buying trucks again, which means that's also contributing to used truck prices going up. And I was like, wouldn't have even connected those dots. So I don't know. I thought it was interesting because while generally the market is coming back, prices are going down, truck prices are still holding the line.
Yeah, and so you look in the story right now. The average used truck price is $37,863.
Mm-hmm.
Price only dropped $3,000 in major damage, so it's holding the value even with the major damage.
Yeah.
And so, for reference, the base pricing for new trucks for Ford F-150XL is $35,590. Chevrolet Silverado 1500 work truck, $35,395. Ram 1500 Tradesman $39,900 for new. So I know we're not those aren't apples to apples comparisons of what's happened in the marketplace, but I thought it was kind of interesting that the average used truck price, the average, is higher than the entry level new truck.
Yeah. I think
Yeah.
that's fascinating. I mean, and granted, the thing is, I mean, when people are buying a used truck, they're probably going for the top, or upper trim vehicles.
Sure. Yeah.
And so they're getting a discount, but it's like, okay, do you want to buy somebody else's? My husband and I are always, we buy used vehicles. And so we always play the game. Like, how many of somebody else's problems do we want to buy?
Right.
It's like, how much do we want to spend on somebody else's problem? So it's like, you don't know how the other person drove their truck. You don't, like, you can look at Carfax and you can get a good idea of how well they cared for their vehicle, but you don't know how they drove it, or if they changed the oil themselves, or what they were doing. And so you're always buying somebody else's problem when you buy used, and it's a little bit of a crapshoot sometimes. But I mean, so far we've been pretty lucky. And yeah, but so you can either get a higher trimmed vehicle and pay the same amount as you would for a brand spanking new truck at a lower trim. So it's
Yeah.
half a dozen, one seeks the other.
Remember, I used to run a Tacoma headquarters kind of website, and people used to bitch at me all the time because they could buy a new Tacoma for less than a used Tacoma. And they're like, "What?" Or in some cases, it's right around $1,000 difference. And they're like, "I don't want to buy new. I hate buying new. I don't want to pay that." They go look at used truck pricing, and they're like, "I'm only $1,000, $2,000 difference by buying used versus new. So I'll just go buy new." I mean, it is interesting. I think we talked one time. What is the percentage? I think it's like in the single digits of Americans who actually buy a new truck every year. I mean, I think it's like 1 or 2% of the population actually buys a new vehicle overall every year. And so most people do not buy new vehicles overall. They buy used. But then you look at used pricing being so much higher. I think sometimes, and then you get incentives. You maybe get better interest rate. You get a warranty. I mean, there's some benefits sometimes to buying the new truck versus used. But everybody's case is a little bit different. Some people don't want to have the drive with a lot, lose the money, sticker issue. I mean, I agree that does happen. Although I've gotten pretty lucky with the trucks I've sold over the years that I've either
Well,
broke
I'm
even
going
or
to say that was pandemic pricing.
yeah. I mean, so yeah, I've gotten lucky. That's what I'm saying. I got lucky.